Everybody, today's coffee shop talk is about respect. First off, you have different types of respect in the workspace. So we'll call it workspace respect if you want. And that is coworker to coworker, how you treat each other. That's important. And then you got worker to supervisor to their supervisor respect. That's highly important. So I always taught a couple things. First thing I was taught, respect the position of the person, okay? The position the person holds, respect the position. If you take that mindset and you respect that first, then you got to look at working on respecting the person in that position. Now, the person in that position has to earn that respect. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know how to do it. A lot of people do it by what I call browbeating. You got to force somebody to believe in you respect them. They don't believe themselves that they respect themselves, and then hence they don't believe anybody in the workspace respects them. So what happens is you get this mindset that you have to micromanage or lead by browbeating because people don't respect your authority. And they don't respect your authority because they don't respect the position, and then they don't respect the person. Somehow they either lost the way to respect the position, or the person in the position made them lose the respect of the position. You have to understand that as a supervisor of any level, whatever lipstick you want to put on. When you go into management and you go into supervision, okay, however you want to call it, you have to have the respect of the people. The people have to respect the position. There's several ways you can lose that. Some people destroy the position by just tainting it, by browbeating, bullying, not managing correctly, not thinking, doing chaotic things, scheduling jobs chaotic, out of order sequence, cause waste of time, don't train. You go on and on. Also, you can have a position tainted or destroyed by having two different people, maybe two different shifts, three different shifts, right? And three different types of leadership. And people get confused because they get moved around within those leaderships, and they don't understand how one leader can be this way and lead that way, which they like, and then another leader can lead this way and that way, which they don't like, or 180 out. That's possible. I never liked it. As a person working under people, I never ever like having two different bosses on two different shifts and moved around. It's terrible. It sometimes can destroy people, give them a bad taste. Doesn't help them move up. They don't want to move up. They want to move out. So a lot of people don't see that. They don't recognize that. Some people are trained from the bottom up that the only way you can lead people is by a position of authority. Case in point, a long time ago, I had a person say, hey, when we're going to a meeting room, I was new to the meeting room, and I just sat in a chair. It's a chair. Let's look at this. It's an object. It's a chair. And somebody had literally come up to me later, a leader, and said, hey, can you kind of not sit in that chair? I'm kind of like, why? Well, I like it, and I was always taught that that's a leadership position, head of the table. Well, whatever angle you turn the table to and however you put people around you is the position of the authority. So using a chair, an object, as a position of authority is not a position of leadership. That's a wrong mindset. If you have the respect of the co-workers that work under you as the leader, then it doesn't matter where you sit in the room. You could sit at the freaking wall if you wanted to. You could sit on the back wall, the front wall. You could sit in the bathroom. When people have a respect for you and your position, at the same time, you could sit out in a Corvette out in the parking lot. You could be on a phone call. You could be anywhere, not be in eyesight, and that respect of you will always emanate in your people, no matter where you're at. But if you don't have that earned respect from your people, then yes, you got to have a seat of a position of authority to force that out on your people. Then you're not a leader. Then you have problems. You have insecurities, you have issues, and you haven't found out how to gain the respect of your people. I, through my whole career, have saw this, learned it, and have fought it my whole time. I had one boat, I got on it, and the chief of the boat, the most senior enlisted on board, the Cobb they call him, was sitting in a spot that was not even within the leadership position, and always playing on video games and wore a spot out in the seat where he sits. He had degraded the spot of position so badly that it took me over 6 months to rebuild it and fix it. I had to fight officers that worked around him and without him because he was not supportive to the officers. Because he made the spot feel useless and not needed, the officers found other ways to get work done and to survive. In doing so, me getting there with actual positional authority and the way I operate and how I do things, I had to take time to fix that and heal it. And that's tough because you don't know what's going on in the human mind, right? So the first thing I had to do was go in that wardroom and take that seat away from the next alpha male that thought he was running the enlisted. I had to do that. I had to push another senior department head out of the seat and get the triad rebuilt within the wardroom, which was the captain, the XO, and the Cobb. Now, that was designed and developed by the Navy, not me. But because everybody thought it was designed by me and didn't understand and wasn't trained that that's the Navy's hierarchy on a submarine, is the captain, the XO, and the Cobb. And that's the orders that I get is the chief of the boat over the enlisted corps, and the captain and his XO are over the officers. You had to retrain people and get them to respect the position of authority and the person in it. That's a tough thing to do once it's lost. Well, I deal with civilians now for the past 12 years, 14 years, and have the same problem. That people in a position of authority and leadership don't have the respect of their people, so they do it by objects or situations, and they lead that way, which doesn't do very good for them, because even though the team functions very well and the job at task get done very well, there's a lack of satisfaction of leadership authority missing because you don't have the personal affection of the people, because you can't interact with them and you don't know how to interact with them. So you got to have that co-worker respect in that interaction. Now, respect's not given, it's got to be earned both ways, from the person, the people within your control, and yourself. And if you don't have that, then it's hard to operate and manage and run a workspace. Workspace respect has to go all the way up and all the way down. If it doesn't, and you have 30 people, and of the 30 people, 20 are unhappy and don't like the way it's managed, from all the way to the top to all the way to the bottom, then you lose that ability to be functional. Your efforts and your output is reduced. You'll fight it all day long. I learned you got to earn the respect of the people. You got to lead by example. You got to be engaged. You got to listen to what's being said. You got to protect, fix, and prove that you're on their side. It's not self-gain. See, that goes back to the term with them. What's in it for me? If people look at you and see you're the only one gaining out of it as a leader, and they don't have your respect, and they don't have anything, they don't think they're going to get anything out of it for what their efforts are, then the ability to work better for you and more efficient for you, well, you'll struggle. And with struggling, you feel inferior. And when you feel inferior, you then browbeat and you do draconian things and you say things and you lead roughly and you don't lead smoothly, and then people shut down on you. And when they shut down on you, then you get that loss of communication and you feel isolated, that you're not accomplishing anything. So you got to be careful with that. That workspace respect of the position of authority and the person within it, I got to be molded as one. I hope it makes sense. If you are a new up-and-coming leader, you have to understand that. You should never have to coerce or bully or push your people into doing things they desire not to. If they naturally do it and go above and beyond, that's because you've earned the respect of them. You've earned the respect of the company. You've earned the respect of your coworkers and even coworker supervisors, and then you'll be successful. It's just a natural occurrence. If you're not and you don't feel successful and you feel like you're always pushing or fighting, that's because you don't have that cohesion, co-worker respect going on, position of authority in what you say and what's doing. And after a while, you'll feel despair and you'll quit, or you'll move, or your people will quit. Number one reason people quit jobs is because of their supervisors. They're not empathetic, they're not respectful, they're not engaged, they don't really feel they're wanted. So the employee leaves because the supervisors are very, very poor leaders of what they do. And if you feel empty every day and like you're not accomplishing anything, that's part of that. That comes with the territory of not having workspace respect. All right, that's Henry the Man. Have a good day. Coffee shop out.